Serious, what are some scary stories that you've heard/encountered before? My neighbor went missing for days. Everyone began a search party to find her. Meanwhile, her BF had murdered her and dumped her body in a sugarcane field. It was really devastating and sad to hear. She was a sweet young woman whose life was taken way too soon. Yes, there have been two. Some old man had his home broken into and they stole some big safe, but not before killing him. There was also a girl who I graduated with that was 8 months pregnant and killed by her stepdad. Her body was found close to my parents' house. Karla Homolka and the murders happened in my hometown. Grew up about 200 m from the water where body parts were encased in concrete. Supposedly my dad got interviewed at one point by police because he happened to move from area where kids went missing to the area near where bodies were found in that similar time frame. More fucked up than scary, but a few years back, this dude murdered his parents and toddler niece and then walked from his house to the police station to turn himself in while still covered in their blood. This rabbi in the town next to mine hired a hitman to murder his wife. It was brutal. When they caught the hitman, he gave them proof he was hired by the husband because he felt guilty. The worst part was their son was an EMT, and when he heard the call to his own house he tried to go help, but they wouldn't let him in because it was so bad. Not my town, but the one about a mile away, but a lady was abducted from a mall in the area and was missing for 4 years. They ended up finding her body just off the side of the road. If the area wasn't being developed, she would still be missing. She went missing the year we moved into our house, when the area was still nice and quiet, so it was pretty scary to learn that our area could be a dumping ground. 2 months later, a body was found in a field just down the street from us, but it turned out to be a builder who had had a medical event and had died in the heat of the summer. A young boy lay sleeping in his bed when he heard footsteps outside his room. He peeked out of his eyes to see what was happening. When his door swung open to reveal a murderer carrying corpses of his parents. After silently propping them up on a chair, he wrote something on the wall in the blood of the dead bodies. He then hid under the child's bed. The child got scared beyond belief. He couldn't read the writing on the wall and he knew the man was under his bed. Like any child, he pretended that he slept through the whole thing and hadn't woken up yet. He lay still as the bodies, quietly hearing the breaths from under his bed. An hour passed, and his eyes got adjusted to the darkness. He tried making out the words, but it was a struggle. He gasped when he finally read out the sentence. "I know you're awake," he read as he felt something shift underneath his bed. "I got my first pair of glasses last week. My parents didn't think I needed them at first, but the doctor said that there was something wrong with more than just my eyes that was apparently pretty common, and that I needed specially prescribed glasses for my own good. He said that many people were never given the chance to see the way I would, so I was lucky to get them." I thought he meant cars and faraway words would become less blurry, but over the span of a couple of days, many more things have become more clear. I started seeing nightmare creatures all around. I'd never seen them there before, like in the corners of my room and in darkened parking lots. I took my glasses off for the first time today. And let me just say, it's amazing how quickly demons and creatures turn into trees and shadows. I know I'm not seeing the truth. But I'd rather things remain blurry, just the way it is for everyone else. My grandma lives in a very stereotypical horror movie house, small Midwest town, white and old-looking home, on a farm. She even has a chipped wooden Mary Nativity in the front yard. She also has a cemetery about a half-mile down the road. I used to sleep in the room in the corner on the top floor, my aunt's room, and it had a wooden rocking chair in it. When I was younger, I would wake up because I thought I heard it rocking, to the point where I would wake up my grandma and have to stay in her room. About 10 years later, my mom, aunt, and I were talking about how creepy my grandma's house was. My aunt goes on to talk about how when she was younger the reason my mom and her ended up sharing a room was because she thought her room was haunted. She said she woke up one morning and the rocking chair was about 2 feet closer to her bed, and after that night, it would start rocking on a nightly basis at midnight. When my friend's boyfriend was about 4 years old, he would talk to a man he saw in the mirror. Naturally, his parents were curious about his behavior and asked him questions about the man. He told his parents details about the man, including his appearance, hobbies, and how he died. It turns out that one of the former owners of the house was a man who had committed suicide in the house, and he matched the descriptions of the man my boyfriend saw in the mirror. When his parents found out, they moved out of the house a month later. When my sister Betsy and I were kids, our family lived for a while in a charming old farmhouse. We loved exploring its dusty corners and climbing the apple tree in the backyard. But our favorite thing was the ghost. We called her Mother, because she seemed so kind and nurturing. Some mornings Betsy and I would wake up, and on each of our nightstands, we'd find a cup that hadn't been there the night before. Mother had left them there, worried that we'd get thirsty during the night. She just wanted to take care of us. Among the house's original furnishings was an antique wooden chair, which we kept against the back wall of the living room. Whenever we were preoccupied, watching TV or playing a game, Mother would inch the chair forward, across the room, toward us. Sometimes she'd manage to move it all the way to the center of the room. We always felt sad putting it back against the wall. Mother just wanted to be near us. Years later, long after we'd moved out, I found an old newspaper article about the farmhouse's original occupant, a widow. She'd murdered her 2 children by giving them each a cup of poisoned milk before bed. Then she'd hanged herself. The article included a photo of the farmhouse's living room, with a woman's body hanging from a beam. Beneath her, knocked over, was that old wooden chair, placed exactly in the center of the room.